Treasury of Illustrated Classics, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Jules Verne, Chapter 4, The Nautilus. I must say that after Nemo left us, we were a very sad group. Ned paced around the tiny cell, saying over and over, "I must get out of here." I was about to tell him to calm down when Nemo came back and stood looking at us. Ned became very quiet. I looked at Captain Nemo. His face was calm and he seemed much kinder. "You may be prisoners, but at least I gave you a chance to live," he said softly. "I didn't have to save you from the sea. I could have let you drown." He went on to remind us, "Will you ever let us go?" pleaded Ned. "I've got a sweetheart waiting for me at home," he said sadly. "I'm very sorry," said Nemo, "but you will never see your loved ones again." When I saw the sadness in poor Ned's eyes, I was afraid my own heart would break for him. Then Nemo clapped his hands together and gave us a big friendly smile. "Come now, gentlemen," he laughed. "It won't be all that bad, I promise you. This ship is very comfortable." With that, he led Ned and Council out the cell. A servant came to lead them to comfortable rooms. Then Captain Nemo asked me to come and have lunch with him. I was led to a beautiful dining room with drapes made of fine silk and glasses of sparkling crystal. I couldn't believe my eyes. The ship was like a palace under the sea. When I sat down, I was even more shocked to see that the plates we were to dine from were solid gold. The food was quite tasty, and there was plenty of it. I asked Captain Nemo what we were eating. "Sliced sea turtle and dolphin liver. My cook fixes it just right," the captain exclaimed. It sounded awful to me, but I had to agree. It did taste delicious. After lunch, Captain Nemo showed me another beautiful room. It was his library, full of volumes and volumes of books. I picked books off of the shelves and looked through them. I was very pleased with the volumes he had chosen for his library. Captain Nemo seemed pleased with my approval. "This is also a smoking room," Captain Nemo said proudly. "Have a cigar, Professor." It was the best I had ever tasted. "That cigar is made of seaweed," Nemo said. Then he opened the door to another room. It was filled with treasures from the sea and was even more lovely than the other rooms. There were giant shells from deep in the ocean. One huge clam shell was big enough to take a bath in. Large pearls of many colors shone from clear cases made of crystal. Bright jewels and shiny gold coins filled box after box. Captain Nemo must have been one of the richest men in the world. I kept wondering why he chose to live under the sea. "I call this room my museum," said Nemo. "It must be one of the best on this earth," I said, unable to hide the wonder in my voice. "These treasures are just keepsakes of a world that I have left behind," said Nemo. "You see, Professor," he said, "to the rest of the world I'm a dead man." "What do you mean?" I asked, but Captain Nemo suddenly became very quiet, so I did not try to find out any more. Then the captain perked up again and smiled. "Would you like to see the engine room?" "Indeed I would," I said cheerily. Captain Nemo again led the way. We walked to the very back of the Nautilus. Finally, we got to the big steel door of the engine room. Then I saw the mighty engine that ran this great ship. I could hardly believe the size of it. It was at least 65 feet long. I stood looking at the huge engine while Nemo told me how it worked. He said that the whole ship was run by electricity made from seawater. If Captain Nemo would only tell his secrets to the rest of the world. But somehow I knew he would not. "You must be very proud of your ship," I said. "I love it as a father loves his own child," he replied with shining eyes. We left the engine room and went back to the museum. Ned and Conseil were there waiting for us. "I have something to show you," the captain said. Suddenly lights went out. It was very black. We waited a little, afraid. Then the whole wall slid open and we saw the bottom of the sea. Only glass was between us and the creatures of the deep. We could see a giant squid looking right at us, and he looked hungry. "There is no need to be afraid," said Nemo. "The glass is as strong as steel." We stood looking at the sight more beautiful than any that we had seen on earth. The water was lit up, and it sparkled like a million blue diamonds. Fish of all sizes darted through the shining bubbles. There were bright reds and blazing yellows. Some creatures had their own lights that glowed gently inside of them. I had never seen such a wonderful sight. It was like one huge fishbowl. I turned to say something to Captain Nemo, but he was gone. He had left without saying a word. I was led to my small but comfortable cabin. Captain Nemo did not come for me, even though it was time for dinner. I ate alone in my room. I was sitting and smoking another seaweed cigar when Nemo came to wish me good night. I had been thinking that someone else besides the men on board must know about the Nautilus. After all, it must have been built on land. Someone must have seen it. Maybe we could be rescued. Trying to sound calm, I asked the captain where the Nautilus had been built. She was built on a lonely island far out in the middle of the ocean, Nemo answered. Where is the island? I asked, still hoping. I blew it to bits, he snapped. No one must ever find me, or you. Ha ha, he laughed. Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, please click like and subscribe.